It's the grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light, little flock. If the world knew the gift of God and who was talking to us when Yahusha was speaking, if you knew that, then you would ask him the right questions. You would speak right to the Father. You'd get the benefits that the Father is offering to you. I want us to consider Yahusha and the Samaritan woman at that well. Now, ironically, the well that they were meeting at was Jacob's well. Jacob, of course, name being changed to Israel, became the progenitor or the forefather of the Israelites, God's chosen people. See that there? And he dug a well and he left it to his descendants. And here we see two descendants of Jacob, Israel, speaking to one another. One knows, listen good, little flock, one knows who he is in relation to the Father, to his Father, and one does not know. Now, read Isaiah. Israel does not know. Now, the ox knows. The donkey knows. What do they know? They know their owner. They know where their home is, their crib. But Israel does not know. So like I said, back to the well, the Samaritan woman does not know because she's part of that Israel that doth not know. And that's why Yahusha told that woman, if you knew, you see, little flock, if you knew, but you don't know who you're talking to. Now, one thing I want to point out here is very important. When Yahusha speaks to the woman, what does the woman say to him? What does she say? She says, you being a Jew speaketh to me. The Jews don't consort with Samaritans. They have no dealings with. I want y'all to hear that nice and good because I just told you these are two Israelites having a conversation. Did you notice what the woman said? One half of the Israelites don't have any dealings with the other half, or in this case, the Jew doesn't have any dealings. See, not some dealings, no dealings with Samaritans. Now, in order to understand this interaction, you have to know the history of the nation of Israel. And once you know the history, then you'll understand this conversation, why what's being said is being said. Because it applies to now, today, to the people today. Israel does not know. They don't know who they are. They don't know the gift of God that's been afforded to them either. Just like Yahusha was telling that Israelite woman, a Samaritan woman, a woman of Samaria, it says there. Now, when you read the Old Testament, like I said, you read Isaiah and books like that, you'll see that Samaria is the capital city of the northern kingdom of Israel. Do you see the irony of it all? Do you see the irony of it? It's the capital city of the northern kingdom, or Ephraim, half of Israel. You see, that would be this half of the staff. That's what this says here. This half is for Ephraim and his fellows, Joseph. You see? And this stick is for Judah and for his companions. And these two shall be joined together into one stick is the prophecy. Do y'all hear me speaking to y'all today or not? Join them together in one stick because they're separate. I'm proving it to you by the woman at the well. Now, what separated them? Well, let's see. One half was over wicked and one half was over righteous. Now, I've been telling you guys this for a very long time here at the School of Marvelous Light, so what I have to say shouldn't be a surprise at all. Now, just to prove that you're in the know like I am, what nation, what half of the nation of Israel would you say is the over righteous half? The Jew or the Samaritan? Which one would you say? It's obvious who. Now, which one would you say is the over wicked half? It's obvious which one you'd say. Now, do you see why the Jews didn't have any dealings with them? Because the Jews who were considered to be righteous and clean had no dealings with a filthy, nasty-ass Samaritan, even though that's their brother. It's always about brotherly love, because what do you think puts the two sticks back together again? Something other than brotherly love? Two brothers need to come back together and be one again. And nothing but something other than brotherly love does it? Okay, you and your army may have some foundation that y'all stand on out there in the world. But the army that I am a part of, we stand on brotherly love, and we self-sacrifice for the one standing next to us. Because there's no greater love than that a man give up himself for his friends, and my friends are part of this army that I'm fighting in. So it's very simple what I just said to you, isn't it? It's always about brotherly love. Did you not read the Proverbs that talks about brothers and oneness and in harmony with each other? It's like the oil that ran down upon Aaron's beard. You see that? Brotherly love, man. And so you see that Yahusha is telling this woman, you don't know the gift. That's what makes a person over wicked. Their faithlessness and perverseness and unbelieving, isn't it? So this woman believed that she was unclean. How do you know? Jews don't have any dealings with us Samaritans. Now, her as a Samaritan, I'm sure, asked why growing up. Why don't the Jews deal with us at all? Why are we cut off from them? Because they said that we stopped following God and went into idolatry, and we went into slavery, into Assyrian bondage. Once you know the history, you know that. Now, he says you have had 5 husbands. The man you're dealing with now is not your husband. So guys, I want you to listen to this real quick right here. You've had 5 husbands. Babylon. You Samaritan, you northern kingdom Israelite that's over wicked and don't know that you're an Israelite and don't know the gift of God. And we're going to talk about the gift of God. And so when you see it, then you'll understand how people don't know it. Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, America. Or in other words, Mystery Babylon. Okay then. So that's the 5 husbands that the woman had and the one she's dealing with now. So you have American people that believe that they're Americans, but they're not. They're actually Israelites. And now y'all are all witnessing the great awakening of the Israelite out of darkness into his light, remembering who they are, because the prophecy says that they shall bethink themselves and remember themselves. How do they do it? Obviously, the truth comes to you and speaks to you and reveals to you the gift of God. You see that there? All you have to know is, what is the gift of God? Now, in order to have brotherly love, you have to know the gift of God, or you can't have brotherly love. Because what keeps brotherly love from flourishing? Let's keep it real. What is it you think that keeps it from finding success? What's up, bro? It's hatred, envy, jealousy. You see that? Those are hindrances to brotherly love flourishing, obviously, correct? And so why do you have that? Poor judgment. You judge wrong. You think your brother's dirty. Look at Yahusha talking about what the Samaritan woman said. They don't have no dealings with us because they consider us to be dirty. Well, then why is Yahusha sitting there talking to you? That's what he's saying. If you knew who I was, then you talk to me and ask me for what I got to give you. You want to give me physical things, which is cool. I'll give you spiritual things, which are better. So if you give me some water, I'll give you some better water. I'm summarizing the conversation that they had. But do you hear what Yahusha is saying? If you knew, that's how he started it. If you knew the gift of God, now I ask you all, little flock, what is the gift of God? Grace. What does a dirty person need more than grace? Come on! What do they need more than grace? So what did Yahusha come like? Full of truth and grace. So you need to hear the truth. You're an Israelite. I know you thought you were a Samaritan. I know you thought you were a Babylonian. I know you thought you were a Persian. I know you thought you were all of these things, but you're actually an Israelite. See right here it says you don't know that? See right here it says you shall discontinue from your heritage? Do you see right here it says that you should be cut off from being a nation? That the name of Israel be no more in remembrance? Do you see all of this facts stacking up here? I can give you more if you need them. Come, let us cut them off. You see? And so you believe you're dirty and unredeemable. The only thing that can change that thought is truth and grace. Yahusha. That's the only thing that can change. That is God's gift to the world. I've told you guys this about the branch. The branch represents God's grace for your ignorance of not knowing. That's what I'm here to do. To smack out all of the false lies about what you are and who you are and tell you the truth so you can come back. Because that's God's gift to you. Because it never changes. When the Israelites didn't know who they were, they thought they were Egyptians, they were sent a deliverer. In the name of I am. When they were in Roman bondage, we have no king over us but Caesar. I want you to hear that, Israelites. That proves you don't know the truth of who you are while saying you do know the truth. While saying you do know the truth, that proves you don't. We have no king over us but Caesar. See, your husband is what that means. I told you you've had 5 of them, and the one you're with now is not. So Israelites are dwelling in a land with being led about by a husband that's not their husband. You're in a strange land. A nation shall rule over you with a fierce countenance. See, a mean-ass husband. That's not your husband. So he's not going to treat you good. Like a husband would treat you, like your husband would. Read the Bible. You left your husband. And they shall no longer call me Lord, for I will remove all the lies that they were taught from the other nations out of their mouth. And I will be called their husband. See? So that's called a remarriage. Being remarried because they were cut off. God's 2 wives were cut off. The 2 wives are Samaria and Jerusalem. Or in other words, Ephraim and Judah. Those were the 2 wives for being over righteous and over wicked. Over righteous makes you a bad judge and it makes you kill wrongfully. And it makes you be a fucking hypocrite. Now let's see if that's what Yahusha was saying to the Jews there. Was he? Was he calling them hypocrites especially? Why? Because they were calling themselves clean and they weren't. Isn't that what he was saying? Was he saying something else, or is that what he was saying? You guys clean the outside of the cup, but the inside is filthy. You honor me with your lips, but your heart is far from me. Rend your hearts and not your garments. A real Jew is a Jew of the heart and not of outward appearance. It's not about garments. It's not about style. It's not about hairstyle. It's not about how tall you are. It's not about your bank account. It's not about anything 3D. It's not about any of that. Until you realize that, then you don't know the gift of God. You're still working for salvation. You're still working for grace when it's a free gift that cannot be earned, nor can you boast when you receive it. But everybody's standing around pointing fingers at everybody else, trying to tell their fellow servants that they're not servants at all. Does the scripture say that that's going to happen in the end days? That they say, Yahusha's been so long coming, it's taken him so long that I'm going to just start beating my fellow servants. It's very specific there. Brotherly love. Beating your fellow servants. Well, so you become over righteous and you start to tell your other brother he's filthy. You nasty, dirty Samaritan. Yahusha had to use that same analogy again. Well, a guy was beaten. The Samaritan helped him. Which one was his neighbor? Oh, the unclean Samaritan was. So why are you judging on outward appearance when that man had a beautiful heart? That's why he helped. But the priest, who outwardly looks righteous, did not help. So which one you think God respected? The heart of a man, because that's what he look upon. And no matter how many times he tells you all this, y'all go along judging each other an outward appearance while saying God judges your heart. You hypocrite, nasty, dirty, stinking devil. They can't stand being told that of themselves, but they're quick to call somebody else that. And they think because they don't say, you dirty, nasty, stinking, goddamn devil. They didn't say it like that. They said, hey man, don't you know that's not right to do that? Don't you know God doesn't love you if you do that? Don't you know God this or that? Don't you know God this or that? Don't you know that? That's what Jews went around doing to Yahusha. Didn't they? Oh, why are you eating that corn out there on the Sabbath day? Hey, why did you heal that man on the Sabbath day? Hey, why did you say this? Hey, why did you do that? Is that what was happening? Who was doing that to him? Over-righteous people were. See? And what did he tell those same over-righteous people? I didn't come to save the righteous, but I came to call the sinner to repentance. The sinner doesn't know who he is, so he cannot treat himself lovingly. Can he? Answer that to me, anybody. If you do not know who you are, can you love yourself and treat yourself accordingly? Can you? Okay, I'll make it nice and very simple. You need to make an apple pie. You have oranges. You don't have any apples, but you have oranges. So you say, screw it. I'll make the apple pie using these oranges. How will your pie come out? You're going to have an orange pie, whether you wanted one or not. And you know why? Because you didn't use the thing properly. You didn't use the right ingredient. Well, it's the same thing you're doing to your life when you don't know who you are, so you live according to the ways of the world and the rudiments of the world and the elements of the world and ordinances of the world, the Bible says. But you being set free, why you be subject to ordinance? Taste not, handle not, touch not. That's what he's saying there, guys. You've been made free from the world. You are not of the world. So why do you judge yourself by worldly standards of cleanliness? The worldly standard of cleanliness is not true cleanliness. So stop thinking that it is. Completely throw everything out of your mind that's outward appearance. Throw all of that shit out because it has nothing to do with it. If he says rend your heart, then what does outward appearance have to do with your heart being rent? What does outward appearance have to do with your heart? A Jew is not one outwardly. So anything that he does outwardly doesn't make him a Jew. That's right, grandson. So what should I be focused on? It's very obvious. I've told you many times. Abba has told you many times. His son has told you many times. The heart. The intents of the heart is what Abba looks at. Is that not what it says? It's very clear when it says intents. The intent of the heart is what Abba is looking at. Why did you do the thing that you do? Why did you say the thing that you said? Why did you react in the way that you reacted? Why did you do anything that you did? He searches that thing right there. And if you're pure-hearted, then every act that you do becomes pure. Why? Because everything is pure to the pure. But to the impure, nothing is pure. I hope you hear that nice and good. That's why he said, the Son of Man came eating and drinking. They said he's a winebibber and a glutton and a friend of publicans and sinners. But John didn't eat or drink, and they said this man has a devil. See? So then don't judge the way the world judges, judge righteous judgment. And when you do that, that allows you to give grace, because that's righteously judging your brother, because that's how you were judged. If you know the gift. If you don't know the gift, then you're just like that Samaritan woman being married to a man that's not your man. Your man is right thought. Righteous thought is your husband. Right thought is your husbandman. All day long I would extend my hands to you like a hen does her chicks, but you would not allow me to do it. What did Father say about him in Israel? A rebellious, stiff-necked, hard-hearted. Rebellious, stiff-necked, and hard-hearted people. Unbelieving. Faithless. You see? Fearful. The fearful and unbelieving should not inherit the kingdom of heaven. Why? Because they're not loving. Fear and love are not the same. Love comes in and it puts fear out. So therefore, if you say you're loving, then you shouldn't be exhibiting any fear. Because if you are exhibiting fear, then you're just not loving. It's that simple. Because they're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. A lot of people try to disguise love as fear. Oh, well, I lied to you about that because if I knew I told you the truth, you would leave me. So then what is the real issue? You lied because that's what the world going to focus on. You lied to me. I can never be with you again. He was afraid to lose you. That also means he didn't believe he was worthy of you. That's his sin. That's his error, sister or brother. So help your spouse, unbelieving spouse. But y'all can't seem to get that. Y'all folk, oh, he lied to me. I can't be with a liar. No, it's he feels unworthy. Well, now why does he feel unworthy? Help him understand that. Because a man will not change if he thinks something wrong about himself and doesn't change that wrong thought into a right one. He will not change unless he changes thoughts, because as a man thinketh, so is he, little flock. Starting in the heart is where thoughts are, because out of the heart come the issues of life. So your start and your catalyst, your origin point is the heart. When you judge, when you do anything you do, you start there, because that's the foundation stone of a being. Out of it spring everything. So that's the foundation stone. You see that there? And so that's why Christ has to come give you a new one. Renew my heart up in me, a clean heart in me. Purge me, and I shall be clean. See there? Give me a new thought process, Father. Because that's what's jacking you up when you say depression, when you say stress, when you say distress, when you say agony, misery. You see that? Those states are due to your thoughts of yourself. So if somebody comes to you and sees you doing something because your thoughts are sick, and they point out the act, have they dealt with the thoughts? Or have they put more burdens on you, put more guilt, put more shame, put more fortification around you to stay in that pity party state that keeps you separated from God? What are they actually doing? See, that's why we rejoice when the accuser of the brethren is thrown down. The accuser of the brethren obviously means someone who accuses actually righteous people for being unrighteous. It didn't say he accuses the world. He accuses the brethren. The brethren are those who love. He accuses you that you're not loving. He accuses you that you're not clean. Who you think was accusing Yahusha? We fight not against flesh and blood, so who do you think was accusing him? Were they accusing him? Well, let's see. This man said he could do this. This man said he could do that. This man said, I will tear this temple down and I'll rebuild it in 3 days. Accusing. Winebibber. Glutton. Beelzebub. Devil. That's called accusing. Beelzebub. You hear that? So the way that Christ looked was very unclean to the world, because he's in the middle to make peace between the two. Out of the two, he makes one new man out of the twain. Is that not what the scripture says? Did I tell you about my stick here? Didn't I tell you that the stick represents two? Ephraim and Judah, and the twist in the middle represents them being brought back together again and becoming one in Abba's hand, like they're one in my hand. I told you. I told you. Something keeps them separate. What do you think it is? What do you think keeps the two sticks separated from one another? Their judgment of one another. You think you're all good and clean and everything. This is Samaritan talking to the Jew. You think you're all good and clean and everything, and God loves you and everything, God bless you. You think this and you think that, and look at me. Look at me. You calling me unclean, you call me filthy, you call me dirty. That's the Jew talking to the Samaritan. You're unclean, you're dirty, you're filthy. You don't do any of God's commands. You don't do anything God tells you to do. You see, we do this, we eat this food. And then here come Yahusha. What goes into the mouth does not defile a man. He smashed down hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of misjudgment right there. Wait a minute. I believe, according to Torah, that what I ate defiled me. Who are you? Are you the body? You'd say, no, I'm not. Are you the spirit inhabiting the body? You would say, yes, I am. Well, then what you eat, can it affect your spirit? Does it even touch your spirit? Or does it go into your belly and go out into the toilet? The obvious answer is there. So then what goes into your spirit? You see, or as he says, the heart. What are you eating? What is your mental diet? What are the words that you're eating on a daily basis that you become one with? Because that's what happens when you eat food. You become one with it. So I was using a physical example to represent a spiritual principle. You see? If you eat this lobster every day and eating bottom feeders and crabs, you get sick and you get messed up. If you eat it all the time, your physical body does. You see? That's to show you what happens when you eat unclean thoughts all day long, because that's the higher principle. So what does he say? Man shall not live by bread alone. Hope you hear that there. Man shall not live by bread alone. All these things the Gentiles seek after. They seek after bread and things that bread can give. In other words, 3D things. All these things the Gentiles seek after, but you be not like unto them. Is that what you were told? Do you see why? Do you see why? Be not like unto them. They search after these things. I tell you, take no thought of what you eat or drink. Take no thought of your life. For what is man's life but a vapor? A puff. Just a puff. Think about a cigarette smoker and all the hundreds and thousands of cigarettes that they smoked in their life. And then think about one puff out of all of those cigarettes that they puffed. They've puffed a lot of puffs, but that one puff is your life. So then take no thought of it, but seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness. See? Seek his food, the manna that come down from heaven, and his right thoughts. You see there? And the rest shall be added. Of course the rest will be added to your life if you're thinking right. You're looking for food because you're starving. So you physically get up and labor to get some food to eat. Now, if you're listening to Yahusha, then he says, take no thought of what you shall eat or drink. So you, listening to Yahusha, don't think about it. So in other words, you take righteous thoughts. I am filled. Not, I need to eat because I'm hungry. Do you see the different experience you'll have? Hear the wisdom of this. I need to eat because I'm hungry is what a carnal person thinks. Damn, I'm hungry. I need to go get something to eat. The person who's faith-led, spiritually minded, which is life and peace, says, I'm filled. Because I'm filled is life and peace, right? Okay, I'm filled. So what experience? If a man think, so is he, then what experience will he have? I think I'm filled, I will be filled. So if you ask believing, you shall have anything. If you ask believing, I have it. I don't see you with it. So how are you saying you have it? It's because I don't walk by sight. If you're saying I don't see you have it, what are you walking by? So do you see why most people's judgment is off on what you have and what you don't have? What did Yahushua say to John in the book of Revelation? I know the true Jews and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews but are not, because they think they're Jews because of outward. I wear a yarmulke. I wear curls coming down and zits on my clothes. That shit ain't got nothing to do with Yahusha. Do it. Well, yeah, it's Torah. It's what I was told to do. And you haven't understood the gift of God. That's it. You haven't discerned it. Because I tell you right now, when you get in the shower and you're done and you're satisfied with the cleaning you have done, what do? Do you get out and continue to clean yourself? Or are you done? And so you go about your day until it's time to clean again. So then all these people you see cleaning themselves and pointing at you to clean yourself believes that they're dirty. That's simple. I just proved it to you. If you get out your shower and you think you're dirty, you're going to hop your ass back in there and clean again. That's what so-called believers are doing. A lot of them are doing today. But Yahushua said, if I have cleaned you, then you are clean indeed. Now, do you believe that by faith? I told you I am filled, even though it doesn't look like I have food. I am clean, even though to you it looks like I'm filthy right now. See, it's the same principle. So then you have an accuser that says, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see you're clean. You look dirty. Look how you're talking. Look how you're walking. Yahushua told me I'm clean. So by faith, I believe that this is what clean look like. You think it looks some other kind of way because you don't look on the heart. You look on the outward appearance to tell you what clean is and what clean isn't. I don't look like that because Abba don't look that way. I ain't silly, sottish, hard-headed at all because he told me not to be. He told me to be tender-hearted and of a circumcised heart. That's what he told me. So, brothers, coming back together, you're going to have to get rid of your false judgments. Both of you are. Or you'll be doing what the unrighteous servant did, who was beating his fellow servants. Instead of focusing on the work labor he's supposed to be doing, which is calling sinners to repentance, he's just pointing out the sins of so-called sins of sinners, not ever pointing at the sin. Like Yahushua said, they deny the weightier matter. What good does it do me to take the crack pipe out of the man's hand because he uses crack and never deal with why he using it? Oh man, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. You'll hear him blaspheming God's name. And so you'll tell him that. Brother, this ain't got nothing to do with you. This ain't got nothing to do with you. This is about the Father. Do you hear how you just talked about him? And he's probably never knew the Father's name. That gave you the chance to tell him of the hope that's in you. And he'll hear the gracious words that pour forth from your mouth. Why aren't you condemning me? Why aren't you condemning me? Why are you telling me, brother, let's deal with it? Because that's what Yahushua do. That's what he did for me. And that's how come I know the gift. Before I finish this message, I want y'all to hear that real nice and good little flock. That's how you know the gift. And once you know the gift, then you give it. You give it. Truth and grace. That's the gift that was given freely to me. So I freely give you grace. I give you grace, but I give you the truth of the matter, which is your heart is hurt. Your heart is broken because that's who Yahushua sent to. Your heart's broke. And it's because you've been blaspheming the name of the Father. So how about you change that today? Well, what do you mean change it? What's the Father's name? Let's read here. I am is my name forever, for all generations. So will his name be I am when you have a child? Yeah. And when your child has a child, his name will be I am, won't it? Yes, it will. All right. So now, I am sad, you say. The Father is sad? I am sick, you say. Father is sick, huh? I'm unhealthy, you say. The Father is unhealthy, huh? What else you got? And then they start to see it. They start to recognize their sin. You see that there, little flock? They start to see their sin and say, wait a minute, I didn't know I was doing that. All right. Don't take the Lord's name in vain, but take it in truth. Take his name in truth, and let's see. I am the opposite of those things you were saying. I am healthy. Is the Father healthy? Yeah, he is health. Okay, well, let's use that one. I am health. There you go. I'm trustworthy. Yes. I'm free. There you go. And now it becomes a well springing up in that person. Now, before we finish this, let's see what Yahushua had to say about that woman at the well. Let's bring it full circle. He said, if you knew the gift, then you would ask of me, and I would give you living water. And she said, but the well is deep, and you don't have anything to draw water with, Yahushua. So where are you going to get this living water? He says, people come to this well to get water to drink, and they become thirsty again. I'm going to break that down before we finish this. They become thirsty again. But the water that I give, a man shall drink and never thirst again. And it shall be a well springing up in him into everlasting life. So use the example I just gave you, little flock, to see if I'm lying to you or see if I'm sent from who I say I'm sent from and to who I say I'm sent to. I am health. I am wealth. I am free. I am relaxed. I am peaceful. I'm still. I'm confident. That's the well springing up and bubbling. Because they didn't have no well of life springing and bubbling, because they were saying, I'm sick, I'm stupid, I'm ugly, I'm unclean, I'm unworthy. I'm unworthy. How the hell are you unworthy for a free gift? Somebody got to hear that, or else I wouldn't have said it like that. Samaritan mindset. I'm unworthy. I left my husband. I played the harlot, and he will not forgive me. I tell you, truly I tell you, if you knew the gift of your father, and if you knew your father and your husband's character, you'd never say you were unworthy. You'd never say, I can't, I'm not able. You wouldn't say it if you knew the gift. Truth and grace. I've been doing it wrong, and now I can do it right. And now I'm going to do it right. And it becomes a life-living spring that come up out of me. Every time something comes and I look at it now, I don't deal with it ignorantly. Oh, they put the handcuffs on me. I guess I'm in jail. I guess I'm locked up. I ain't none of that stuff. I'm free. I don't judge by sight. I judge by faith. I'm free. Now I patiently wait for it. It's the substance of what I hope for. I'm free. Evidence not seen. Shit, the just walk by faith. I don't know about the unjust. I ain't unjust. I'm just. So I walk the way I'm supposed to be walking. You hear that today, little flock? You hear that today? And I do the same thing for my brother, and that proves it. I'm a Jew. Now, if I go to my Samaritan brother and start talking about how unclean he is and how he's unworthy and how God will never love him and accept him, is that true based off of what I have experienced? No. If I was doomed to die and I was by grace given salvation freely, then what the hell am I supposed to do when I see my brother? But people forget their uncleanness. Read Revelation. Don't forget that you were naked. Don't forget you were filthy. Don't forget it. Don't forget your former estate before he came and gave you that well of life springing up in you. See, because how you know somebody is from the truth is that well springing up in you afterwards, which means they've taught you something that you now go forth and do for the rest of your life. Everlasting life is what it said. It springs up into that result. So you do that forever. Because I am eternal is the truth of being. And once you know that, then you know the gift of God, eternal life. Is that a gift? Is it the gift that He's given you? See? And through grace, you obtain the knowledge of how to live eternally. Through grace. Oh, man don't live by bread alone. Well, I'm stressing about that. But man live by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. So that's the diet that I'm supposed to eat. Now, if I listen to other people's thoughts and words other than his, now I'm eating swine. Now I'm eating lobster. Now, see the new transformed mind? See, be renewed by the transforming of your mind. Now I understand diet correctly. So my ignorance, which was, I'm sitting there at the restaurant and I run looking at that damn shrimp, popcorn shrimp, sitting there dipping that shit in a cocktail, they eating that shit, spreading the lime juice and lemon juice, spraying everywhere, niggas throwing this shrimp back. And I'm like, damn, I just want to eat a few, but shit, I can't, it's unclean. What if these people see me do that? What it got to do with your heart? I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with my heart. All right then. So let them call you unclean. They call Yahushua a glutton. Said he couldn't control his appetite either. Because they're hypocritical. They do the same things, are guilty of the same things they accuse others of. If you're guilty of what you accuse others of, then you should you should give them what you received when you were guilty. Because all are guilty. That's why I don't sweat men's opinions. I don't listen to shit they have to say because they're all guilty. So if a man is saying something of value, it's God's words because that's the valuable food to eat. That's what he told us. See that there, little flock? So, this family members that were sitting there, the Samaritan and the Jew, Christ making peace. He making peace between the two, and he making one new man out of both of them. Out of the over righteous and over wicked side, there should be one new man apparent. Now, I want to ask you guys, If I took an over righteous man and an over wicked man and I put them together and they were like Vegito, they did the little dance where they put the earrings on and did like Vegito, what kind of traits would they exhibit? That's hard for a lot of people to admit right there. To answer this question truthfully from the heart, a lot of people won't do it. I'll ask it one more time so you can see why I'm saying that. Look at this, y'all. G S R T. I see that? I might not be able to see it. Grandson right there. So now, I'll say this and I'll be done. If you took a man that was over righteous, so he had all the qualities of an over righteous person, which means outwardly pious, outwardly clean, and then I took a man who was over wicked, and then I put them together and made a new man, what kind of attributes would it look like if you looked at him? You'd see righteous and wicked traits. Why do you think Moses put his hand in his garment? It was leprous as snow, and he put it back in and it was clean. Why do you think they called Yahusha a winebibber and a glutton and a devil? You see it? Do you see it? But like I say, that's hard for people to come to that conclusion. Wait a minute, I would see both traits. If they're both men, both have become a new man, I'm going to see both parts of them, just like Vegito. He looked a little like Vegeta here. He had some of Vegeta's personality, and he had some of Goku's personality, and he looked some like Goku some. Because they're one new man. And originally, when they did it with the earrings, they were supposed to be stuck like that for eternity. But through a loophole, they was able to get out of it. Y'all remember that? But they were supposed to be stuck like that forever. So they gave up their individual wills for the greater good to become one new man. And they were stronger as that one new man, just like you are. The over wicked man is jealous of the over righteous. Vegeta is jealous of Goku. Hope you hear it, I hope you hear it. He considers him to be undisciplined, uncouth, a glutton, eats up crazy shit, looking all unclean and everything. But Goku was the one. And Vegeta eventually said it at the end. He said, "You're the one. You're better than me. Even though I was the prince of all Saiyans." See the Samaritan and the Jew? I'm the prince of all Jews and Israelites, the Jew. I'm the prince of Saiyans. Well, who is this man that's stronger than you? The one eating up all the food, smashing it down his throat like Goku. Who is that? And why do I have to become one with him if I want to be stronger? I'll never beat him. He'll always beat me. No matter what I do, he'll always be a level ahead. He got Super Saiyan, I got Super Saiyan. He went Super Saiyan 2, I went Super Saiyan 2. Then he went Super Saiyan 3 on my ass. Damn! You are the one. You're better than me. Can't do what you do. Oh, you got today little fly. So y'all be blessed today. I hope this message edifies you all. I know I've been gone for a minute, but you should be clear and obvious as to what I've been doing. Sitting silently with the Father. Sitting silently with the Father. Because that's how I live. Salawam Mr.